Welcome, my brother! It's getting to that time of year again, isn't it? January 1st is literally a few hours away, and there are plenty of people getting ready to set a whole bunch of promises that they're going to break, aka resolutions. And I really hope that after watching this video, you're not going to be one of them. Now, let me just do a little disclaimer. I'm not making this video from a position of any real authority because I have not yet achieved any, material success in this world. I have solved a lot of my own personal problems, including my physique, my mindset, my, ability to perform. But the reason I feel qualified to make this video is because I've become a lot better at competing. Now, I'm not going to go too much into it because we're here for you. This is not about me. So this video is going to be very important because it's going to show you how to start the year and finish it off with an absolute bang. So let me take this moment to discard a very common cope. This cope of, oh, you're just competing with yourself, just be better with who you were yesterday. That is true. I don't know why I did the mocking voice because it's fact. You are competing with yourself and you should be better than who you were yesterday. However, that statement, it also glosses over the fact that we live in a PvP world. I'll be honest, life is a brutal competition which can either be exciting or terrifying depending on your attitude and your mindset and actually how good you are at competing. Now, obviously you can get better at competing, which is what this video is for. But let's get something very straight, okay? You are competing for the woman you want. You are competing for the work you want. In summary, you are competing for the life you want. It just depends what competition you want to play. But no matter which arena you choose, you must become a worthy opponent. However, I will say this. If you're watching this video, you are not competing with the average man. A normal man would not have watched this video. He might have clicked on and seen a shirtless buffoon screaming at the camera and been like, nah, I'm out. This is too much for me. Who the hell does this guy think he is and all of that. He's gone off to watch some freaking KSI drama or some entertainment content. But if you clicked on this video, then you are not the average man. You're an ambitious guy who is not happy with a mediocre life. And so this guy on the left is not your competition. Unfortunately, I know, right? It wouldn't be much of a competition though, would it? Because you're probably a Bowser, you're probably already doing some good habits, I would hope. If you're watching this kind of content, I'd hope you're taking some kind of action. But, brother, I want to be honest, you're playing an entirely different game. You're not competing in the same arena as the average man, which means you have to raise your standards. You have to stop, feeling smug, feeling proud of yourself that you're better than these guys who are lower than you because, that's going to keep you stagnant. This mindset is not going to push you to new heights. You're actually competing with guys like the one on the right. Now, I don't know if this is a real person or if it's just like a model and this is like some cool shoot for some kind of clothing brand. It probably is, but nonetheless, this is just a visual representation of the type of man with whom you have chosen to compete with by pursuing a more than average life. Now, obviously this is like a high value man sort of thing, but let's not make it, brain rotting and internet meme content. Let's get back to reality, which means we need to set some goals, because what better way to become grounded in reality than by, determining something to work towards. Now, notice how I said goals and not resolutions, because normal people say New Year's resolutions. Normal people also, stop everything they're doing come February and become stagnant for the rest of the year just to repeat it the next year. which is obviously not going to be you. So, a lot of the way people set their goals, and this is probably the way your competition is going to set their goals, is they're going to focus on how and what. They're going to hyperfixate on how they're going to get this amount of income, this physique, pardon me, God forbid, how am I going to sleep with this amount of women? And they're going to become over-fixated with the tips, tricks, and tactics. These technical details that are important, but you'll soon come to realise that they're not as important as the who and the why. Pardon me. Ugh. Right, so your competition is going to be focused on the how. How I'm going to achieve this, how am I going to achieve that. You are not going to play that game. You are going to focus on the who. Who do you have to become in order to make achieving the how effortless? What are the character traits that you need to learn and develop in order to achieve the goals that you're seeking? Once you shift your focus to the who, man, the game changes and the world becomes wide open to you, because then you'll start to realise that it's not about what you do, it's about the person you are. The individual who can accomplish anything can literally accomplish anything. It doesn't matter what they choose to pursue, they will find a way to win somehow. So yeah, these characters and these traits, they are something you can develop, which is why you should focus on the who. And more importantly than the what, all of the technical details, you should focus on the why. The why that makes you cry will allow you to bear almost any how, which is obviously a very badly paraphrased quote from Nietzsche. So when you figure out what truly drives you and why you want the things you want, it becomes a lot more powerful. You'll be able to bear through the tough times a lot easier when there's a reason that's much larger than yourself as to why you're chasing the goals that you're chasing. And once you make this tangible and you figure it out and you actually, take a note of it, it just makes your pursuits a lot smoother. Now, as soon as your competition sets the goals of the how and the what and all of these fiddly little details, they also only set goals for 2025. Now, for you, this is just the start. 2025 it marks the start of a completely new life, and that life will be there for the rest of your life. And I know I just said the word life way too many times, so let's move on. You're going to set a huge goal. You're going to develop a vision that may take a lifetime to become reality. In other words, you're going to find your North Star and you're going to align your life to be in accordance with it. Here's something you have to keep in mind though. It's going to change. There's nothing you can do about it. The more you walk down the path, the more you level up your own character traits, and the more tangible results you see in life, the more your vision will change. The more it will develop, the more you'll start to realise that, man, this is not actually what I want, this is what I want. And that's totally fine, because while your competitors are busy playing each other's games, getting lost in the source of, comparing myself to this guy, what is he doing, how can I copy this, all of this nonsense, and ultimately having a PvP measuring contest where it's, it's a bit childish, it's a bit pathetic. While they're busy doing all of that nonsense, you'll be completely locked in, working towards a unique mission that means a lot to you. Now, I'm not going to lie, this might mean that it takes a bit longer for you. This might mean that you're not able to overtake your competitors as quickly as if you were just playing their game but doing it better. But once you start playing your own game, man, you'd be surprised. All of this mental noise gets silenced. You'll You will no longer be agonizing yourself, oh, why am I not in this guy's position yet? Nah. You'll be waking up each day full of drive, full of purpose, just happy, enjoying the process. And that's what it's all about, because, to paraphrase a hippie, the life is about the journey, not the destination. And it rings very true, because what's the point of achieving all of this material success if you hate the journey there, because the journey is going to take a very long time. Then once you get there and you realise, all of these materials actually don't mean that much. So once you have a North Star, once you have a grand mission to work towards every single day, we need to set some process goals. Now, when you go into the year, it is helpful to set some results goals, like I want to be a full-time on my online business by then. I want to be making this amount of income, but just accept the fact that it's probably not going to happen the way you envision it, because results are guaranteed when you fully commit to going all in, but the time frame is not. You can never predict how long the results are going to take, but what you can control and what you can fully predict is how much process goals you tick off, which is you set a task, you tell yourself you're going to complete this project, and you do it. You tick it off by the time you set the deadline. And this is how you start making your yearly goals more tangible, because it's very, very hard to set yearly process goals unless they're big enough. For example, one of my yearly process goals in 2025, is to get baptized so that I can fully commit to my walk with Christ. Now, this is something I can completely control. I mean, there are some factors that are out of my control, like the schedule of my pastor in order to be able to, put our Bible studies and the actual baptism, but, ultimately it's down to me, and I can complete this by the end of the year. I can get baptized. Another one of my yearly process goals is to do the 3 Peaks Challenge with a twist. Now, I'm not going to tell you much more about that yet, because I want it to be a little cool reveal, but again, this is a process goal that I have complete control over. It's as simple as just doing it. Obviously, I may fail, I may get injured, I may give up, but more or less, it's something I can control. However, I have one last goal that is more of a results goal, which is I want to make a substantial full-time income for my coaching business, and it might not happen. I've accepted that already. I might get to the end of 2025 and I might still be, working a few days here and there to support myself while my coaching business is still being built. Or I could get to the end of the year and I could be completely just, making hella stacks with my full-time coaching. Ultimately, I can put in as much work as possible, but the results will come whenever I'm ready, whenever God determines that I deserve it. It's that simple. Now, those are my yearly goals, but to make those yearly goals tangible, you have to start setting weekly to-do lists. Now, obviously, I'm not going to ask you to go through every single 52 weeks of the next year and set, this week I'm going to do this week I'm going to do that, because you simply don't know. You'll only these things will only be revealed to you as you go through the year and the weeks start going by. Now, you want to set weekly goals that are big enough, but also manageable enough. Ones that push your threshold, your current threshold, however much work capacity you have right now, however much you're able to sit down and focus. That's what your weekly goals should align with. Don't bite off more than you can chew so that you get discouraged and, don't only tick off like 20% of what you set out you'll do. But also, don't be a little pussy and just set like some little fluffy thing that, takes no effort to do. Push yourself to the zone of challenge, so that you're in the flow state, where things are difficult enough for you to be engaged and, focused, but also not too difficult where you get overwhelmed and, you just don't know what to do. That simple. And once you set yourself a weekly to-do list, it's time to start breaking those down into daily tasks to fit around your already busy schedule, because I do hope that you're not just some unemployed 16-year-old self-improvement YouTuber who's just sitting around trying to make it and become the next Hamza without having any real-world experience or doing anything in the real world. I hope that you are, you're employed, you have a full-time job, and you have a gym routine that you can get stuck in with, and all of these goals are going to have to fit around that. If for some reason you're not already training, then that should be one of your goals. It should fit around your already busy schedule. And that's where the daily tasks come in. You have to do an audit of your schedule and determine when the best parts of the day are to schedule these tasks. Typically, it's when you have the highest energy and the most focus. That could be different for different people. Obviously, also depending on what you're already doing with your day, which is why I'm not going to get too much into it. But basically, bro, to summarize, you have a lot more time than you think in a day. A lot of people like to use that cope. I don't have enough time. Brother, we all have the same amount of time. You just use a lot of it on habits that make you forget how much time is actually going by. It ruins your awareness, and it ends up the days just slip by, and you realise I haven't done anything. Where did all the time go? Ask me how I know. Go on, because that was me. That was me as well. Which means you can change. Never worry, you can always change. But yeah, I've rambled on quite a lot on this section, but again, I want to return to this. Don't overthink it. You will figure out more of the path as you walk along it. It's great to set yourself a plan, but it's also very bad to set yourself a rigid plan that you're not able to adapt as you go. And you also have no idea how it actually feels to execute on that plan until you start executing. So don't be afraid to make changes and adapt, but also make sure that those changes are controlled. Don't freaking switch things around and go off on some side quest and rearrange your entire daily routine just because something felt wrong one day. No. You need to experiment, which means you need to gather enough data by sticking to one process for long enough and then only switching one or two variables at a time. And I'm preaching to the choir here, trust me, because this is a mistake I love to make. I'm an absolute cuck for shiny object syndrome and always trying to switch things up to to stay novel and to keep things interesting. But yeah, that was that. Now, here's what I want you to do, okay? I want you to become absolutely obsessed with self-mastery, with looking in the mirror and being super proud of the person who's looking back. Because while everyone else is busy chasing material success and others' validation, you will be locked in and focused on your own journey of becoming the ultimate Jedi who will save humanity from whatever evil you perceive it has. That is to say, again, once you start focusing on who instead of how, the world opens up to you and you'll be shocked by how much progress you're making. Because a lot of these competitors, you might think they're doing well on the surface. They look like they're living a really cool lifestyle, but deep down they're hollow, they're empty, they hate themselves. Because they've been too busy chasing the thing instead of becoming obsessed with self-mastery. But here's the thing, my brother. Once you become obsessed with self-mastery, you're going to achieve all of these material results anyway. It's only a matter of time, right? Okay. Now that you realise how important it is to become who instead of focusing on the what and the how, this means you must fix your own hardware and software, basically your body and your mind. The actual contents of what's going on inside you and the contents of your brain. While your competition are busy just chasing the thing, you will be busy chasing the thing and becoming a master of your habits, which I don't want to hear any cope, you can do both. And actually, it is more effective to do both. But yeah, the first place you're going to start is by focusing on the physical, because what you eat and what you do in terms of your training will absolutely change your life. If you don't know it already, then brother, there's just so many accounts and anecdotes of fitness changing someone's life entirely, and I'm another testimony of that. So obviously, you can't really operate effectively when you have gut inflammation, you have brain fog, you're always slow and tired, and a lot of that is to do with the food you eat and the exercise you do, or most probably don't do. Now, obviously, I have a picture here of a bull, a jacked bull. That is what you must strive to be, because your physique is a very accurate representation of what is going on in your brain. Now, once you start taking steroids and muddying the waters, it's not quite the same, although I will say, a lot of the roid side effects, they do appear, and they are another good representation of the mental instability and whatnot, but hey, tangent, cut that out, Matt. Your nutrition is so important because it will fuel your day, fuel your training, fuel your work, and yeah, right now I'm just telling you about why, the benefits of all of these things. I'm not going to go into too much depth about what you should eat, how you should train to get the best results, because, brother, that's there are entire freaking channels devoted just to that very thing alone. So one video is not going to even come close to covering it. However, that's what my school community is for, and some of my other content, and more content I'll be making in the future. So freaking stay tuned for all of that. But yeah, you start incorporating fitness into your lifestyle, you get jacked, that's gonna, just the act of putting on more muscle will allow you to walk through your day with more authority, you'll feel better about yourself, you'll have higher energy, more confidence, and the world will respect you more. It is what it is. People judge on first sight, that's just the way it works. And the physique is the first thing people see. I mean, face. Let's not get into that black pill nonsense. Okay. Yeah. So once you start mastering your physical, which will obviously be fixing your hardware, you need to fix your software, which is your mind. Now, this image depicts something I don't like to call it. It's a concept that exists. It's called cognitive load. When your brain is just full of information, it's excess. You watch all of these educational YouTube videos, and you also scroll on TikTok and Instagram. You might watch some Netflix. You're clogging up your brain and making it super ineffective, so that by the time you actually sit down to do a task, if you actually have enough discipline to do so, you're going to be a mess. Your mind is going to be scattered. You're not going to be able to focus. You need to lower your cognitive load by cleansing your mind of all of this excess information and taking more action than information. I mean, doing more action than taking in information. That's how you cleanse your mind. And then once you're in a phase of unstoppable momentum, when you're taking action, so much action, then you can supplement that with more information so you can make that action much more effective. But for now, you need to just cut out all the noise. And, I have made videos on that very subject, just dedicated to that. So freaking, the last one I made is called, Your Brain is Fried, Bro, Unplug Now. So if you want to learn, just freaking watch that stuff. Okay, so obviously, to upgrade your hardware and your software, a silver bullet is just to improve your testosterone levels. I talked earlier about setting results goals versus process goals. The processes are the things you actually do versus the results are the things that you get. Well, if you do set the results goal of improving your testosterone levels, and you actually do the things necessary, then man, competition is going to be an absolute joke to you, because actually one of the things that improves testosterone is competition, and competition improves testosterone, and testosterone improves competition. It's like a repetitive, infinite cycle. It's crazy, and it feels unreal, because testosterone is literally the male hormone of competition, and there's just so many benefits, it's unreal. If you focus on increasing that, then as a byproduct, just your life will just get better, honestly. I think that's why TRT is so popular and you can make so much money from starting a TRT clinic, is because it gives you all those benefits, but without having to do any work for it, you just inject something and there you go. I think it's absolute horse nonsense. I was going to say another word, but try not to swear for this video, and I think I've done alright. Yeah, silver bullet testosterone, get it up, and you will become a much more ruthless competitor. And obviously, all of these things, they go hand in hand and hand in hand. Wow, I said hand way too many times. But yeah, obviously, I can go into the technical details of increasing your testosterone, but again, that'll make this video 25 hours, and I don't want to do that to you. I can make a whole series of videos just on this subject alone, and I'm going to do so. It's going to be in my school community. So yeah, once you started increasing the software and the hardware, it's actually important to increase the hardware and the software of your day. I know that doesn't make much sense. I just said that on the fly, hoping it would make sense, but let me elaborate a little more. So it's of the utmost importance that you learn how to manage your time and become a lot more effective with the time that you do have. Now, I used to be a disorganized mess. Actually, I spent most of my life a disorganized mess. And I wondered why, despite being very clever, I failed at school and got sacked from a bunch of jobs. A big reason of that was not just my poor attitude and shit work ethic. It was also the fact that I had terrible organisation, no time management whatsoever, just a sloppy mess all day, every day. Now, time management seems to be a forgotten skill because nobody knows how to do it anymore. Nobody knows how to make their days effective. So if you learn how to do that, brother, you'll be unstoppable. Along with everything else, it's just gonna supercharge you and send you to the next level. Now, again, like everything else, I want to make more technical, detailed videos about this, but it's not the time. It's not the time for that now. But yeah, let's think. Just a few hours, it's going to be January the 1st. How are most people going to start the day, the year, the quarter century? They're going to wake up feeling like garbage. They're going to be hungover, they're going to be sleep deprived, and they're going to be full of regret at the decisions they made the night before. They're going to be embarrassed at the things they've said. All in all, they're probably not going to get a running start on the year and start working towards their resolutions. They'll say, I'll start tomorrow. Then tomorrow rolls around, they make a half-assed attempt, and they're surprised that by the time February rolls around, it's game over, they've given up. But yeah, I obviously said earlier that you're not competing with the average man, and obviously the average man, that's exactly how he's going to start the year. However, I will say, a lot of high-achieving, ambitious men, they also love to party. They love to get drunk and wake up hungover, especially on an occasion like New Year's Eve, which is the perfect opportunity for you to start chipping away at the eventual goal of overtaking them. It all starts with things like this, by getting ahead. And yeah, in this... Pardon me. In this picture, let me just show you, it doesn't show up on the screen for some reason. We have a man who's obviously running in a very beautiful setting. Now, picture these two things. These are obviously just visual representations of what you can do to start the new year, but imagine January the 1st rolls around, and instead of being out partying all night, you've said to yourself, brother, this is just a day like any other. What is the point of doing anything? I'm just going to get an early night, and I'm going to wake up, and I'm going to just go about my day like it usually is. But better than that, I'm going to start the day with mastery, which is obviously going for a run. It's a great way to start the day. Just imagine what kind of precedent that will set for the rest of the week, the rest of the month, and the rest of the year. If all the competition are grumbling and groaning because of their dry mouth and their throbbing head, you're out there and you've also got a dry mouth and a throbbing head, but it's because the blood is pumping and then you feel incredible afterwards. But yeah, let's get back to it super quickly. Okay, I just spent a while talking to you about big picture things, but I didn't get very technical because I don't want to be rambling on here for days on end, and I don't know your own unique situation. I made a general video that applies to quite a few people, but I obviously can't give you specific advice because I don't know what you're going through right now, which means that if you need a hand with any systems, any processes, actually structuring everything into a program that you can just execute on, let me know. And obviously, the most important part is accountability. If you haven't yet managed to hold yourself accountable, then just stop trying, bro. Seek help. There's absolutely no shame in asking for help. And, why don't you ask for help for the person who you watched the whole video of? Because I have a coaching program for guys just like you, which means if you want a hand with anything, freaking message me on Instagram, and I'll see if you're a good fit for my program. Alternatively, if you want to just ask for advice, go ahead, and I'll do what I can to help you out. It's all love, my brother. And if you're not ready to commit to coaching, I have a free school community where I'm currently creating a whole bunch of resources. Now, I said it's free. It's not going to be free forever. Once I've made the resources in a school community, once I've created enough value, then I will make it paid, because why wouldn't I? Plus, I want the actual, the community itself, the people who make up it, to be serious and committed, which means they should have some skin in the game financially. But for now, I'm not going to ask that because it's not worth any money yet. So freaking join it now while you can, and then while I add the resources, you can gain access to them, so that maybe by the time it's paid, you won't even need to pay for it anymore. Who knows? But I'm watching you, bro. Don't get it twisted. I'm watching you. I truly hope 2025 is the year where you build unstoppable momentum and you make the best progress of your life. Have a good day, brother.